Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, to another edition of IDP Plus Bets. That is right, folks. I'm your host, Sebastian Firon, aka the DGenDoc, and we're wrapping up a series today, folks. We are tying a nice little bow on Sports Betting 101 series. Sports Betting 101, for those that aren't aware, it's basically an educational series where we take you step by step, or someone you're new to sports betting or interested in sports betting, or maybe you've got into sports betting but didn't really learn how it all works. So it kind of walks you through, what's a spread bet? How do you read odds? What's an over under? But really, sports betting is one of those things where you have to be knowledgeable if you have any shot at success, right? Vegas doesn't look like Vegas through charity and handouts. It is mostly on the backs of losing bettors, which data shows about 97% of people are losers in the long term because they simply don't take the time to simply learn the basics, to even learn the basics of how do you sports bet and how do you give yourself a shot against these sports books, because they're going to do everything in their power to make you lose, because that's how they win. So we've ran through 8 episodes talking you through the basics, talking to you about, hey, how do you deal with the loss? How do you deal with the emotions of a loss? Bankroll management, accountability, transparency, taking you through Underdog, DraftKings tutorial. So definitely, if you're new to the series, go ahead and check those out. But today, we are talking about capper red flags. That is right. So, a large reason why I wanted to do this whole series is just because the sports betting space, especially as it explodes, it's expanding to all these different states and it's becoming more legalized. There's a lot more eyes on it. There's a lot more scams, and the sports gambling space is getting a lot more scummy, to be honest. There's a huge lack of transparency, whether it's from the sports books or it's from these cappers themselves. So let's start with, what is a capper? So when you talk about a sports gambling or gambling capper, this is what should come to mind. Somebody who is honestly just looking to take your money. It's someone who gives out sports betting picks or advice, or it claims they have information. So you would pay this person because of their edge, their model, their knowledge, their track record, whatever it is, that they deem themselves as worthy enough that you should pay them for their picks because they claim to be so profitable. Now, the problem is a lot of these men and women are not actually profitable. They're just making themselves look like something they're not. And that is the whole point of today. So look, disclaimer, I am not a capper myself. I do give out some picks. Obviously, you'll see me on here during the NFL season, UFL, give out some picks. Absolutely. Completely free. Never going to ask for any money regarding any of those, and very transparent about what wins and what loses, right? Because I'm giving it all out for free. There's no paywall or Discord. So for me, I don't really have an interest. This is just something that has exploded as the space has grown, and it's really just grimy. So the purpose of today is to basically, hey, if you want to pay somebody to help you out with picks, right? Because there are absolutely some people who are profitable in sports betting, right? Have that long-term track record, have shown to make a decent amount of money. That's valuable. If you want to pay for their picks, absolutely. But the majority of these folks either are brand new to the game, where they came from another space and they're just popular, so they think that transfers, or they're just straight up scumbags that at the end of the day, all they want is your money. Because whether the bets win or lose, as long as you're paying them, they're making money, right? So that's really what we're trying to help you find, how to avoid this trap, because I hate it and it's so scummy, and that's why we're doing this. So first things first, what does it take to be a sports capper, to claim yourself, I'm a sports gambling capper, like I am the knower of all things? Absolutely nothing. Literally nothing. There's no certification. There's no check off. Nobody and nothing has to tell you that someone's a professional sports bettor. You can wake up tomorrow and decide you're a professional sports bettor, and no one can tell you differently, right? So that's the first immediate red flag. It can literally be anyone, and it could be, they can wake up and just decide that, hey, I want to try to take advantage of some people in the sports gambling space, so let me do it like that. Everybody knows how social media works, right? let's be honest, things do not typically look like as they're portrayed. And it does not change when it comes to sports gambling. There's plenty of these essentially social media influencers that have just infiltrated the space, and they're just looking to turn a quick buck or increase their followers. And they don't really give a shit about you or your money or your bankroll. So that's what we're trying to weed out here. And that's what we're hopefully going to help you do. Really, a big thing comes down to doing your due diligence. It's on you. I've talked about the fact that accountability, you could blame somebody for giving you a pick and it not hitting, but at the end of the day, it's your money and you're the one who's pulling the trigger. You are the one that's saying, yes, I'm taking my hard-earned cash and trusting this person or paying them to give me these picks. And whether they win or lose, again, they're going to tell you and make all these empty promises. But at the end of the day, you have to make sure that you're doing your due diligence and understanding, hey, is this person someone who's trustworthy? Do they have a track record? Can I see that they're actually a profitable bettor, right? Because you'll be surprised. You would expect that these are just kind of like things that fall in line and things that should be expected. But again, it's the wild, wild west, baby. There is no rules, no regulations. So it's going to be a little bit more of a spicier episode. So cheers, have a drink with me. We're going to kind of get into some of these things and try to help you identify these red flags, avoid them. And if at the end you still want to, pay somebody for picks, great, fine and dandy. Just make sure you're doing it to the right people, because there are a few people who are truly profitable and truly want to see you win and do better, and you guys win together, but they're few and far between, unfortunately. So the first one of these, another principles that I want to talk about is the fact that having money does not mean that you are a good sports bettor, right? Just because someone is rich doesn't mean they got it from sports betting. They can claim that they did all they want, but there is no proof unless they show you some type of tracking or some type of transactions. A lot of people just throw down big money, and just because have a lot of money behind this bet, you think, oh, they must be profitable sports bettor, right? So let's take a look at one of these here. All right. So you got a guy, he said, this is the biggest bet of my life. Cubs are going to get me out of the hood. Obviously, you see, he just risked $10,000 and $100 to win 10 grand. It's a lot of money. So, okay, maybe I trust this guy. I'm going to assume just because this guy throws down money, he knows what he's talking about. He's rich. He's got some money. If you got 10 grand to blow, you're not hurting for cash. So let's go ahead and check out how that worked out for him. So we come over here, June 26th, when he placed the bet. He was on the Cubbies. So let's throw this up here. Let's take that off. So June 26th, he was on the Cubs, right? $10,000 on the line. He's got to have won. And yeah, the Cubs lost 3-4 to the Giants. That's $10,000 down the drain, right? This because somebody threw a lot of money on a bet, that does not, the gambling gods don't give a shit, right? If anything, Vegas wants that money. So it does not mean, again, that was just saying you're going to see a lot of people when they place these bets, they're going to show their bet amount because, oh, this person's betting 10 grand. This person's betting 100K. They must really know what they're talking about. In reality, a lot of those people made their money from something else, whether there was successful business or whether they just got daddy and mommy to hand it out to them. Don't fall for that trap, okay? That does not correlate. Again, there's few people, about 3%, who are just profitable bettors in the long term. And profitable just means you're above zero, right? That doesn't mean you're a multimillionaire. The other thing is very common is you see a lot of people. One more example I want to show you about somebody who, hey, they got they have a lot of money, or they claim to, right? So they have to be a good sports bettor. We're gonna head on over here over on X. Meet Sean Perry. Again, look, I have nothing against these people. I don't know these people personally, but they're going to put this out there for the public to see and try to, in my opinion, scam other people. So I really don't give a shit if they care about this or ever see this. Really not my problem. I'm, again, just trying to help you guys identify some absolute bullshit. So number 3 ranked poker player in the world, over 7 million in winnings to world's best sports bettor, up 8 figures lifetime. Okay, So, two absolutely independent cases, nothing to do with each other. Obviously, being a good poker player, that's pretty damn cool. Honestly, that's impressive, right? Poker and sports gambling, other than the fact that they both can happen inside of a casino, they're not related. They have nothing to do with each other. I mean, poker, you're playing against other individuals. You're trying to, I mean, yes, you have the statistics and the cards, and yes, there's absolutely a mathematical portion to poker. But that just because someone's a good poker player does not mean it directly translates to sports betting. And, this is an individual someone who obviously is not transparent at all. If you kind of just flip through, whenever there's a bet, he always hits this bet. He's flashing a lot of money. This guy's an absolute clown. I'll let you just kind of, if you want to check that out on your own. But assuming, right, hey, he's a good poker player. He's won millions of dollars. He's got to be profitable, right? Well, somebody, shout out to this guy, Steve McQueen. Obviously, somebody's burner, but they literally just tracked this guy's bets because he's so not transparent. He puts everything behind a paywall. He's, of course, going to show you when he wins after the fact, right? Because even a blind squirrel finds a nut. And this guy tracked his best bets. He was 1-9. A 9% win rate. That is honestly incredibly impressive to be that bad. To win 9% of the time. I mean, you could just throw darts at a board and have a better shot at winning. Like, again, folks, having a lot of money or having a lot of followers has no correlation to how good of a sports bettor you are. So please do not fall for that trap. Another one, a very kind of big one here is, let's pull this guy up. We've got another guy here, claims to be from ESPN, or his stuff was on ESPN. He's got a lot of followers, right? All right. Pull him up here. All right. This is Alex Caruso, not the basketball player, the sports bettor. It's a guy who did a lot of fantasy stuff. So he got a lot of his followers from fantasy football and different things like that. Now he's suddenly turned into a sports bettor, helping you win at sports betting every day. Featured on ESPN. No, he never worked for ESPN. I think one of his tweets, they showed it on ESPN one time or some bullshit like that. No, he did not work for them. Okay, yep. So looking, everything. Oh, I see a lot of wins. His pinned his tweet from June 18th where he swept, yada, yada, yada. We'll get more into that. He's giving out these plays, yada, yada, yada. He gives out, all these baseball plays. So he must be profitable. I mean, he's got 305,000 followers, right? He has to be a sports betting guru. So, although I do not appreciate a lot of what Alex Caruso does, what I do appreciate is that he does have his information public on Pickett, which Pickett is a bet tracking app that I recommend, there's a few out there. Use whichever one you want, but I talked about how you need to be tracking your bets because you cannot understand if you're even doing well, let alone tweaks to your process if you don't understand where your baseline's at, where you got to know if you're actually being profitable and not just throwing money to the wind. So, this is his lifetime rate of return, right? His ROI, return on investment, 0.49%. So this is someone who claims that they're helping you win every day. And this month, they're squarely in the negative, including today. So, and not even the fact that, all right, now, so basically assuming that this person made all their bets public, and this is truly all the bets they've made in their life, they are a very, very marginal profitable bettor. So, it's someone who claims that, hey, let's look at their best categories. They claim they're giving out like 5 or 6 MLB bets a day. So this has got to be something that maybe they're strong. So let's look at, lifetime. Maybe some people dabble in other betting and they only give out certain sports picks, right? I know for me, I mostly focus on football. And if I don't feel confident or I don't give out a play unless I have my own money on it. So I typically only do that with football because it's the one sport that I know very well and the one I feel in tune with. But I do bet on other sports, right? So, okay, that's fine. So he says MLB is what he's giving out right now. I know he does NBA and some other stuff. This is his best categories. So this is where he is the most profitable. Okay. So what do you notice here, right? NBA, he does a ton. He's very, very marginally profitable in the NBA. He does a lot of college basketball, even less profitable there. NFL is not bad at 3.16 isn't terrible as long as you're, depending on how much money you're putting in, that ROI isn't terrible. But notice what you don't see. And right, he's saying, look, bet this MLB bet. I know a lot about MLB. I'm a profitable bettor, blah, blah, blah. MLB is not on that category. So that tells me, his lowest category was a 0.08 or something like that. That tells me he's not profitable as an MLB bettor. But yet he's giving out 5 or 6 bets every day about how you should trust him because, he's an MLB guru, right? Who only a couple years ago, before sports gambling was popularized, was someone who was just doing like fantasy football, right? So, again, having a lot of money, having a lot of followers does not mean jack shit when it comes to being a profitable sports bettor. All right, let's get into the actual red flags that we want to be talking about as far as, hey, how do I identify, say you do want to get into, paying somebody for picks, right? You want, hey, I'm new to it, maybe, or you just, I'll give this person $20 a month or however much a month, $50 a month. But I think, based on what they're telling me, I'm going to be able to make 20 times that, right? Because that's what they're going to promise you. I mean, it's nothing more than just a used car salesman, right? They're selling you snake oil. That's all they care about. They're trying to push product, right? And in this case, the product is, I need you to believe, whether I am or not, that I'm going to win you money through sports betting. Okay. So the 3 kind of red flags that we want to talk about. And before we do that, it's time to make sure we pay some bills here. So our friends over at IDP Plus, we've got some buddies here. As you're a fan of us, we are a fan of some people. And one of those is the Fantasy Football Expo. You already know about the Fantasy Football Expo happening August 9th weekend out in Canton, Ohio, where that Pro Football Hall of Fame is. I know you didn't need another reason to head out there to the Fantasy Football Expo, but we're going to give you one. Come and join us on Saturday, August 10th at the Brew Kettle next to the Pro Football Hall of Fame for a drafting extravaganza. And for the first time ever, IDP Plus is hosting an IDP League. So be a part of history. We will have that in the show notes below. Another thing I want to tell you about is Trophy Smack. That's right. Our friends over at Trophy Smack. Look, it's draft season. I hope you're getting jacked up for football. I know I am. You want to make sure that don't just be lame and just, hey, all right, we're just going to everyone be on their own computers and we're going to be in this league, but we're going to maybe chat or something like that. Get together, get yourself a nice draft board and do it with Trophy Smack, right? Trophy Smack, they've got all the player stickers, names you need. And for the first time, they have an IDP expansion pack. So if you're one of the defensive nerds, if you're on this channel, you probably are, and you're hosting an IDP draft, offense can't always have all the fun. Now we get to join in the fun, and we can have those stickers with the defensive players' names. So head on over to Trophy Smack. Get the link again. Both those links will be in the show notes. All right. Back to this. We're talking about identifying these red flags, right? So what are some of the red flags that we're talking about? First one is somebody who only shows wins, right? I talked about it. I cannot guarantee you much in sports gambling. In the sports betting space, you cannot, there's the golden rule for those that remember, there is no such thing as a lock. I don't give a damn what anybody tells you. It is sports. The entire reason that we love sports is because they're unpredictable. If everything was just statistics, why would we even play the games, right? The best underdog stories come from that. So the only thing I can guarantee you when it comes to sports betting is you will lose at some point. You will lose. If you sports gamble for longer than a day, you will lose. It is part of the game. So it is very unrealistic for people, if you look at their page and you're trying to figure out, hey, this person's telling me they're a great sports gambler, blah, 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 and all you see is wins. Every single tweet, how they're hitting this and how they're hitting that. And a lot of them are coming out of nowhere. Like, I don't even know where these plays came from. They didn't give this out. A lot of stuff, all they're showing you is wins. That is an absolute red flag. Again, one of the biggest things you want to look for in the sports gambling space is transparency, right? There should not be this big facade that they're trying to play this trick on you, or, hey, when you come with me, you're going to win every single time. That's just absolutely bullshit. That is unrealistic and not the truth. So if you see someone and they're claiming to be this, mega mind, super all-knowing sports capper, make sure that they're being transparent. Hey, everyone's going to have bad days, okay? It happens. It's part of the game. But it's much better if you have someone being upfront and recapping and being like, hey, we hit this one, we missed this one, whatever. Or you had a bad day, you're down a couple units. It happens, right? But when I go on someone's page and all I see is wins, that's an immediate red flag. Immediate red flag, right? Because you don't know how much they're betting as far as, what other bets they're putting in. They're just trying to show you the highlights. And that is not the full picture. Again, transparency. The other thing is if they're not public about tracking their bets. A lot of people will say, oh, I track it on a spreadsheet, or, oh, I have my own methods to track it. Bullshit. That is so much more difficult to just go in and track it all old school on a spreadsheet. There are so many apps. I've talked about Pickit. That's what I use personally. There are so many apps where it'll track your bets for you. All you do is link your accounts and boom, it tracks your bets for you, right? So if you're saying, as a sports capper, you're saying, hey, my main thing is that I make money gambling off sports and I want other people to pay me for my knowledge, for my picks. Why in the world would you not track your bets and use that as an advertisement tool? You really shouldn't have to sell yourself if you can just prove that you are up X amount of units, whatever you're claiming. I'm up X amount of dollars, X amount of units this season, this lifetime, right? Why would you not make that public information? You want to know why? Because they're not telling you the truth. That is the only explanation. If you are trying to sell a product and you want to prove that product being your picks, your own knowledge, and you are trying to prove to somebody that it is a superior product, then you would have some type of evidence. The evidence would be tracking your bets. So if somebody tells you, oh, I track it myself, or hey, I don't make that public, or yada, 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 red fucking flag. All right. There's no excuse, especially at this point. Maybe back in the day, you're like, yeah, there's no apps for it. I use a spreadsheet. Cool. I get it. But nowadays, there's plenty. So please, please, please don't just take somebody's word for it and just, trust me, I'm up 1,000 units lifetime. Oh, okay. Yeah, buddy. Yep. I've got a waterfront property in Minnesota. You want to check it out? Yeah, $5,000 to look. Just horseshit. Okay. The other thing that's kind of a newer thing and really freaking annoying because it's just, I don't even really know how to classify this other than just scumbag behavior. There's a ton of the new wave seems to be giveaways. And I put it in air quotes because it's funny. You see people say, oh, I'm going to give away this amount of money. And you just never see it come through. Right. So we're going to go back to our buddy Alex Caruso here because he gave us a great example. So he says he puts out plays and he says, look, $200 to someone who likes it if we go 5-0. So obviously, he's just trying to get likes because if he happens to, again, blind squirrel, if he hits the nut and goes 5-0, then you know what? Hey, maybe I'll follow these picks. Maybe I don't. But $200 sounds nice, right? Everybody loves free money. So, this is a way that he's trying to boost his likes and whatever. But at the end of the day, if he's going to give away $200, then I don't have a problem with it. What I have a problem with is that the motherfucker has never shown a receipt that he's given somebody $200 because he does this on every single thing every day. And I just showed you he's not that profitable. So if he was giving away money every time this magically happens, he'd probably be at net zero, right? So, this is somebody who, if you look at the first tweet, it says this tweet was before the plays happened. He said, hey, if you like this, if we go 5-0, I will give $200 to this person. Well, he actually goes 5-0 on this day, which is great. That's awesome. That's a great day. 5-0 and sweeping on your bets. That's a solid fucking day. But he says $200 to someone who likes this tweet. So I'm confused because he told me that it was $200 to someone who likes on the first tweet and then $200 to someone who likes this tweet. But the funny thing is, not only is he not giving out $400, $200 for the first tweet and $200 for the second tweet, there's been nobody who has shown that they've been paid from this man. And he does this on every single post. So again, there's other examples of this. You got this guy here, Professor Picks, $1,500 is somebody that likes his probe. He just swept for $36,000, third time this week, blah, 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 blah. And of course, you can't see everything because, he just posted some screenshots, make him look good. And then he links his Discord or his paywall. Like, of course, can somebody check this? No, you've got to pay until you realize, is this true or not? Right? So, maybe this guy did do this, but of course, you never see a receipt about any of these giveaways. This is literally the epitome of engagement farming. They are just putting whatever the fuck they have to say to get your like, to get your engagement, right? Because, of course, they pay for the check on Twitter. So it's just another way for them to bring in money. You see, at the end of the day, this is all it is. You are just an avenue for them to bring in some type of money, right? This is all they see you as. Not everybody, but a lot of these folks, that's it. You're just a like, you're just a follow, or you're just somebody who pays them monthly. And if they hit a bet, great. If not, they don't really give a fuck because you're paying them money, right? You are paying their rent. You are paying their income, right? So again, that giveaway stuff really annoys me. Some other things that I've seen online that annoy me as well. You have this guy, All in Abe. He, is somebody who always tweets about tonight's will change your life forever. And it's these $33 to win 13.5 grand, right? Obviously these long shots, these lottos that I've talked about in the beginning, these massive parlays are not a strategy for success. If you want to be a profitable sports bettor, straights are your bread and butter. Do not rely solely on parlays. Now, maybe this guy's hit a few in his life and he's up all time, whatever. I'll never know. But look at the lack of transparency in this tweet. So you can see this is all to record 2+ RBIs. So then he does a follow-up tweet saying they all just fucking homer, right? That has nothing to do with his bet. You would think they're correlated, but if you go back and look, because if this would have hit, I promise you would have seen the green slip and the payout, not just some tweet. Santander and Bryce Harper both had solo home runs. They both ended the game with 1 RBI. Okay? This bet lost. That's great that they all homered. That wasn't your bet, dude. I don't know what that has to do with anything other than the fact that he's just trying to trick people, right? Another one he puts out, the solution to all your problems. Look, folks, I'm not a genie. I'm not anything crazy, but I can promise you wasting $100 on 139, almost 140 to 1 is not the solution to all your problems. And of course, as a shock to absolutely nobody, this is another individual who is not very transparent. Let's get him up on the screen. He's got some cool graphics. I do like, Abraham Lincoln, great president, but presidential sports consultant, of course, he's not going to show his real name or anything like that because somebody will probably know he's an absolute bullshitter. Obliterate lottos and builders. He's got this giveaway. He says he bought a car because of sports gambling. Thank you, FanDuel. Flashing money, classic narcissistic social media influencer. Look, I'm going to flash. We don't even know if this is his car. It's just some stock photos. That's really cool, man. Again, there's no link to my picket, see my record, whatever. It's just behind this paywall. That's all we can see. Just behind the paywall, right? So, I'm not surprised somebody like this is using those tactics of just kind of trying to get everybody's hopes up with these long shot bullshit parlays that I have not seen one hit. So again, the biggest thing here is the transparency. if you're seeing a lot of smoke screens, or is it becoming difficult for you to even tell if this person is a profitable bettor, please do not give them your money. It is the classic saying, if it sounds and looks too good to be true, it probably is, right? Nothing is free in this world. That should have been everyone's first lesson in life. Everything that's easy goes rotten. So please, this is no get out of jail free card. Nobody is going to just magically win you all this money. Because if you think about it, at the crux of it, if someone was really this profitable, right? If someone was really had an algorithm, or they had a mind for this, or they had some type of advantage where they were really crushing the sports book, one, you would not want to make yourself public, because as soon as you become public, if you haven't been banned already, you are going to be limited and banned just about everywhere. If everybody knows that you are bad for business because you are crushing the sports book like a ton of people claim, you are bad for business. You are not going to be welcomed at these establishments. And number two, why would you try to give away and dilute your edge if you are so profitable? Why do you need other people's money to get in on your secrecy, to get in on your profit? Why would you do that to dilute your edge? If you really think you have an edge, if you really think, because markets will move based off of the influx. Like if everybody's hammering a certain side, it's going to move, right? So you're going to take away, it just makes no sense. And like when you think about it, yes, if everybody was a great person and they were just so altruistic that they really wanted to help the community, yes. But look at how many people are homeless on the street. Look at how many charities need money, right? Like these individuals like this are not patron saints typically, right? I'm sure there's one or two, whatever, but you just got to think, wow, if this person's really as successful as they claim, why are they trying to charge me $20 a month for their picks? Or why is there this Discord or paywall? Why, if you make that much money, why do you need my money? Right? Just think about that, right? Now, again, this is not everybody. I myself give out picks. I talk about sports gambling. Whatever. But just the people, like there's a way to go about it, right? Just be transparent is my biggest thing in this space. Be open and honest. Everybody knows. Anybody who's been in sports gambling for more than 2 seconds knows you're gonna have losing days. You're gonna have bad weeks. Nobody can win all the time, right? That's just not how it works. But it's the people that are purposely, putting up this facade and doing it to really take advantage of other people, or take advantage of new sports bettors, or people that are in a desperate situation, are really trying to make money. And because that's who it typically is, people that are desperate, honestly, at the end of the day, that are just trying to look for a better way out, right? It's just like a lotto ticket. They're just trying to look for a better way out. I promise you that is not the path to a profitable sports betting. Look, there's other people out there, that like are open and transparent, that like, I think of the Trent Atua guy or whatever, who makes his whole career off of basically being a shitty gambler. I think he's actually good for the space because of how transparent he is. He recaps his losses. It's almost like a running joke about his losses. It's this guy, this Book It with Trent guy, who's clearly a losing bettor, but that's like his whole shtick. That he's like so bad, like you can fade him. Now, I will be honest, do not just straight fade him, because he does a lot of parlays. So, just because one of the legs misses, like he might go 3 for 1 and he still loses. But obviously, if you just fade his picks, you lost as well. So it's not something where it's just like so easy where he has a bunch of straights, whatever. Basically, he works for Prize Picks, and lo and behold, he's an employee for them. So it should be very obvious. The fact that he's bad at it is better for the company he works for. So he's probably making bank for the company. I don't even think that's a secret. I think he's just like a funny dude and is like making light of this stuff, and it just blew up and he makes a lot of money from social media. But I mean, please do not follow this guy. He's got a bunch of followers too. Don't think that he has money because he's a good gambler. At least this guy's transparent, right? He literally tracks his plays and he'll show you like, fuck, I suck at this. But that's what makes him funny. So I think he's actually pretty good for the space. But yeah, at the end of the day, it all comes down to accountability. It is your money. The entire purpose of this is when you get into something new, you need some training wheels, right? You have some faltering. It takes a while for people to figure it out. And some people never figured some things out. But with sports gambling, you're taking a higher risk. This is your hard-earned money that you're putting out to risk, right? So really the entire intent of this series was to try to help you identify some common mistakes, identify, some good practices that you should implement right away when you start sports gambling, because it is fun. It is a good hobby. And it is something where, hey, you have the potential to make a little bit of money on the side. It's something that you can enjoy, especially if you like sports. It gives you some action on the games. Like, I enjoy it. I think it's a great time, but something that can also very quickly turn into a problem and turn into something where people are going to look to take advantage of you. So my goal is to try to help you to avoid all that shit and just have fun and sports gamble and try to make a little money. All right, folks, that is going to be it for the Sports Betting 101 series, at least for the immediate future. I just want to wrap it up and kind of, I definitely didn't want to lead with an episode like that. Again, I have nothing, I don't like what these people are doing online, that they're being facetious and they're trying to take advantage of people. So I have no fucking problem calling people out like this, because I just think it's scummy. I think it's crappy. I think as this sports gambling grows in popularity, like, it's becoming more legalized, it's becoming more acceptable, you're going to have a lot of younger individuals. Now, obviously, you need to be 21, but we know how that works. You're going to have a lot of more malleable brains to take advantage of, right? And I just don't think that's right. The sports books, they're not going to fucking try to educate you, because they benefit from people being unknowledgeable, because that's what leads to them losing money. Again, it is a business. Vegas was not built through charity and handouts. It was built on the backs of losers. At the end of the day, it was built on your money. It was built on my money. Okay? So that's what we're trying to avoid, folks. But I hope you've learned something. I hope you enjoyed talking sports betting. If you're new, again, I hope you check this out. This is episode 9. There's 8 episodes before that give you those kind of step-by-steps, walk you through. If you have any questions, comments, anything you want to see a topic on, let me know. Otherwise, I'm the DGenDoc. You know what they say, a lock a day keeps a bookie away. And we've got the prescription for you here at IDP Plus Bets. Hope you have a wonderful week. And other than that, folks, I'm out of here.
Thank you for watching the IDP Plus YouTube network. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Be sure to tap the bell icon to get notified whenever we upload new content.